Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Grow My Salon Business podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Whitaker, and it's great to have you here with us today. Thank you for all the compliments I often get emailed regarding the podcast. I really do appreciate it. But I also have a favour to ask of you, and it's the only favour I'll ask, and that is that you write us a review for the show. Ratings and reviews are extremely helpful. They do matter in the rankings of the show, and it helps other people to find the podcast. And of course, I also love to hear what's genuinely been helpful. All you need to do to leave us a review is go to the Apple Podcast app, search Grow My Salon Business, scroll to the bottom of the page and leave a review, and you'll make me very happy in the process. So with that said, on with today's show. Now, as part of my online courses, we have a group coaching call every month where I answer questions from the course participants. Last week, one of the questions that was emailed in was, could I talk about how to get more clients? And it was signed Janice. Unfortunately, Janice didn't give me any other information, so I don't know anything about her business. I don't know where it's located, or how many staff she's got, or how long she's been in business, or what she's already tried, or what's worked in the past, and maybe what she's tried and what didn't work in the past. But how do I get more clients is probably the number one most asked question from hairdressers everywhere. So we worked through it on the call, and I figured it was also a question that would be great to discuss on this week's podcast. So, how do you get more clients? Now let's start by backing up a little and first of all asking, is it the real question? In other words, will getting more clients be the answer? Because sometimes when someone asks a question, when you dig a little bit deeper, it's not really the question that needs to be answered because it's actually not the real problem. Sometimes the real question should be, how can I generate more revenue? Or how do I make more profit? Or how do I increase the productivity of my stylists? Or how do I work out my pricing? Or am I charging the right amount? I'm sure you get the idea. You see, the solution to every problem isn't always, how do I get more clients? In fact, that's often a sort of a lazy question, and really it's just a band-aid solution to what the real problem often is. It's like saying, I just want the end result being more clients, but wanting that without having to really think about what you need to do to become a business where getting more clients isn't a problem, meaning that sometimes people want the solution without the hard work that's needed to understand what you need to build and put in place so that new clients is an automatic result. You see, most people that ask that question, they want an easy answer. They're looking for a shortcut. They want you to say something like, do this and it will solve all your problems. Or post this on Instagram and there'll be an avalanche of new clients. Or try this new platform. The point is, there is no magic bus that's going to pull up every morning with 10 new clients for the day. It just doesn't work like that. And the reality is that every business needs new clients because every business or every stylist is going to lose somewhere in the ballpark of 20% of their clients every year. Now, whether that's because they've moved away, so it's no longer convenient. In other words, perhaps your salon is near where they lived or near where they worked, but they no longer live or work there. So it's just simply no longer convenient. So you're going to lose some of them. Sometimes people no longer come back to the salon and you need to replace them because of personal circumstances that have changed for them. Maybe they've become unemployed, or maybe they have an illness, their own or someone close to them in the family, or maybe that client who's been coming to you for years has actually passed away. So whatever the reason is, every business needs to have a constant flow of new clients just to stay in the same place. So let's try and tackle the problem as if a lack of new clients really is a real issue, and look at ways to address the problem long term and not just a short-term fix. So the first thing I'd do is want to understand the current new client status, meaning how many new clients are you currently getting every week? Because that number is going to vary from person to person. And how many new clients are you getting as a salon every week? And that's important to know, and very few salon owners do track that metric, and they really should, because you want to know where those new clients are coming from. And it's not good enough just to guess, you have to have the data. So, for example, over the last month, how many new clients have you got that have come via word of mouth? How many have come as personal referrals to a specific stylist? How many have come through social media, whether that's Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever? How many of them have been walk-ins? How many of them have come because of your Google SEO? How many of them have come from your website? How many have come from other forms of advertising or marketing initiatives that you might be doing? For example, a referral program where clients refer a friend. You see, once you can answer those questions with facts, you can see what's not working and what is working. And when you know what is working and what's not working, then you can start asking yourself, what should I stop doing? What should we continue doing? And perhaps, what can we double down on because it's working so well? Because if something is working really well, then it makes sense to double down on it. And if something else that you're already doing is not producing any new clients, then it makes sense to question whether it's a good investment of your time and financial resources to keep on doing it. The next thing to understand is, what sort of clients is it that you want? Meaning, who is your target market? Do you want more men? Do you want more women? And are you a specialist? For example, do you specialize in blondes or balayage, or perhaps you're an extension specialist? And what price point are you at? Because when you start to narrow down what type of clients you want, then you can start to focus on what the best way is to reach more of those clients and what they might be most likely to respond to in terms of a promotion or an advertisement or whatever it is that you're putting out there to try and get more new clients in. And when we are talking about new clients, we also need to talk about whose responsibility it is, because I'm going to suggest to you that it's a mixture of both the individual stylist's responsibility and the owner's responsibility. Obviously, I've been both an employee and an employer. And when you're an employee, you tend to think that it's the owner's responsibility to get you more clients. Until, of course, when the day comes when you decide to leave, and then you assume that those clients are all yours. But anyway, that's for another podcast. Ideally, I think it's the responsibility of both the salon owner and the individual stylist to be generating that flow of new clients into the salon. So let's talk about, first of all, the individual responsibility. Asking for referrals is probably the first step that the individual needs to do, because if you want more clients, then asking your existing clients is what I would refer to as perhaps the low-hanging fruit way of getting more clients in, and it's certainly being probably the most cost-effective way of doing it. So how do you do that? Well, just simple things. For example, like saying to your clients as you've cut their hair, just say something to them like, "I've really enjoyed cutting your hair today. And if you've got any friends or family who need their hair cut, tell them to come and see me because I'd really like to look after them for you." Or when you meet people socially, do you ever say to them, "I'd love to cut or colour your hair for you. Come and see me. I'm at the ABC salon down the road. You can find me on Instagram, or here's my business card with my details on it," whatever it is that works best for you. So they're the first two things. But then over and above that, really without even having to verbalize to clients that you want them to refer their friends and family, etc. to you, what are the things that you actually do for that client while they're within the salon? So for example, do you give them a great experience? Because if you're giving a client a great experience, then even unprompted by you, they're more likely to recommend you to other people. And do you build client relationships? Meaning just simple things like, it's amazing to me how often you go into a salon and the stylist doesn't even refer to you by name. So step one of building relationships in any circumstance is using someone's name. That's building a relationship. And do you invite them back in at the end of it? Just by simply saying to them, "Hey, I've really enjoyed cutting your hair today. I'd love to do it again. It'll need doing in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is. By inviting them back in, it's not assuming that they're automatically going to come, but it's saying, I've really enjoyed seeing you today. I've really enjoyed doing your hair, and it would be lovely to have the opportunity to do it again, and this is when it will need doing next. So invite them back in. The other thing, of course, and this is all in line with just getting those clients to refer you because they like you, is the obvious one perhaps, which is, do you consistently do great work? Because as you do great work, your clients are sort of a walking, talking billboard for what you do. So people that they work with, people that they know socially and interact with, are going to say to them, I love your hair. Who does it for you? So again, they're going to be referring people. Do you as an individual post on Instagram before and afters to try and stimulate more clients directly through social media? And another one that oftentimes is forgotten about is, do you look the part as a stylist? I mean, when we look at your hair or your dress sense, etc., do you look like someone who knows what you're doing? Do you look like someone who is going to give people the right advice for how they should look? Because oftentimes when you look at a group of hairdressers, they don't always look like that. But if you do all of these things that I've just gone through as a stylist, it will result in you getting more clients. So now let's segue into the next bit, which is your role as the salon owner. What responsibility do you have there? Well, the first one is, do you lead from the front? Meaning, do you do all of the things that I've just gone through that the individual stylist should be doing? So do you as the owner also do that? And do you recruit and set people up on your team to succeed at doing all those things by giving them the right training and giving them the one-to-one coaching and explaining to them what the expected levels of productivity are, by saying to them that you're expected to be getting X amount of personal referrals a week or a month or whatever it is? And then do you give them their results? Every week, do they know how many new referrals or new requests have they personally had? So do you, as the owner, track those results, and then do you give them to your team? And celebrate them, by the way. And sort of in line with that is, do you have morning huddles to start the day where you can celebrate people's results from the day before or the week before or the month before or whatever it is, and just update people on how those results are? In this case, talking about new clients and how many new clients we've had as a salon this week or this month, and who is top of the leaderboard, so to speak, on your team. And as the owner, you also need to have a marketing strategy in place to generate new clients, whether that's through the location of your salon. And let's face it, for a lot of people, that is where their marketing budget goes. It's on the location of their salon, because by paying what is often exorbitant rent, you do it because there's a lot of pedestrians walking right past your front door. So, for example, if you're on the ground floor of the mall right next to the escalator, that's going to be a better place to attract new clients than being on the third floor, where the rent is going to be cheaper than it's going to be on the ground floor. But if you're on the third floor, then you need to have a different marketing strategy in place to help generate new clients, because there's simply less pedestrian flow walking past your front door. What else do we do as salon owners and leaders? Well, there's obviously the brand that you've created. Does the brand that you've created over years, since day one, does that help generate new business, that people are looking for you as a brand because of the reputation you've established? Then there's the website that you have, the social media platforms that you're on, and other forms of promotion or any other forms of advertising that you're doing as a business consistently in order to generate a healthy flow of new clients. Now, regardless of where new clients come from, we all want new clients all the time, because that's how the business grows, as long as those clients return. So when I say, I think I said it at the beginning of this, that is that the real question? Well, this is really what I mean, is the real question not how do I get more clients, but is it instead, how do I keep the new clients coming back, or at least keep a higher percentage of those new clients coming back for a second or third or fourth or fifth or 10th visit? And this is what we mean when we talk about client retention. So this is a question, how do I keep new clients coming back? And I think that in a lot of salons that is actually what the real question is. Because if we are able to get, say, one new client a day in a salon, so one new client a day, whether as a stylist or as a salon, let's just do the math on that for a minute. So if you're getting one new client a day, and a lot of people don't think that's very many, but I think it's quite a lot. One new client a day, that means 5 new clients a week, assuming you're going to work a 5-day week. And let's give you a couple of weeks off a year and say that you do 50 weeks. So one new client a day is 5 new clients a week, multiplied by 50 weeks in a year, that is 250 clients. Now, if you've got 250 clients at an average spend of, let's say, £1,000, $1,000, €1,000, whatever it is for the year, and there's plenty of people that are going to spend that much on their haircuts and colours, etc. during the year, then that equals 250,000, whatever it is, dollars, pounds, euro, etc. And that's a lot of money. But it's only a lot of money if you're getting those clients coming back. But therein lies the problem, because in so many cases, you might be getting 250 new clients a year coming to see you as an individual stylist or within the salon. But the real issue is that they're not coming back. So you don't have that revenue at the end of the year from new clients because you're not retaining those clients. And I think that that's the single biggest challenge that salons everywhere have. It's not about getting new clients, it's about keeping a higher percentage of the ones that you get. And if you're not able to retain those clients, you are constantly reliant on, I need to generate more, I need to generate more, I need to generate more. But it's like the proverbial hole in the bucket, where it's got a hole in it, and the more you put water in it, the bucket never fills up because the water's just flowing through the hole. So client retention is like that. There's no point in getting all these new clients if there's a hole in the bucket. So you need to plug the hole in the bucket, so to speak. So when we talk about client retention, there are 2 different numbers that are important to distinguish between, because they're similar, but they're different. So the first one is new client retention, and that simply means for a client that comes to you the first time. So a new client comes to you today for the first time. What is the likelihood that she's going to come back for a second visit? Now, you'll see varying statistics on this, but they will all overwhelmingly agree that there's not a particularly high strike rate. Now, the most reliable data I've seen is new client retention. If you get 10 new clients today, that only 4 of them will come back for a second visit. Now, meaning that you lose 60% of clients after 1 visit. And then after the second visit, out of those 4 that come back, only 2 will come back for the third visit. And after 6 visits, it's down to 1 of those clients remaining. And so that's what I mean by, you can get 10 new clients, but if you've only got 1 of them remaining with you after 6 visits, that's a pretty poor client retention percentage. So new client retention is about getting that new client who's coming once, coming back not 40% of the time, but coming back 50, 60, 70, or even 80%. Now, the reality is that you're probably not going to get them back 80% of the time, but anything you can do above 40, so that we're talking 50, 60, 70%, well, that's going to help your business grow. So that's new client retention. Now, existing client retention is talking about your regulars, those people that have been to you, let's say they've been to you more than 3 or 4 times. So that would then qualify them as a regular client, and they would see you as being their hairdresser and you would see them as being your client. But those clients are still not all going to stay with you until the end of their days. Now, some of them, that is the exact reason why you don't retain them, because it is the end of their days. Unfortunately, people pass away. As I said at the beginning, maybe some of them have relocated, whether it's where they live or where they work. Maybe some of them have had a personal life change. Perhaps they've lost their job or retired or whatever it is. But you're not going to retain all of your existing clients. But as a percentage, if we could aim for retaining at least 80% of our existing clients. Now, depending on the point of sale software system you've got, it's important that you're able to track those 2 criteria as different numbers, meaning new client retention and existing client retention, because they are 2 very different numbers. And let me just use a very practical example. If you had a situation where you knew that stylist A had a new client retention rate of 40%, meaning that a client that comes to them for the first time, there are only 40% chance that they'll come back for a second time. Now, if you knew that that was a fact based on the data that you collect within your point of sale system, and then you also had stylist B, who, if you gave them that new client, they had a 70% chance of getting that client to come back for a follow-up appointment based on the data, again, that your salon management software is giving you. Well, let me then ask you this question. If that was the case, stylist A had a 40% chance and stylist B had a 70% chance, who do you want to give the new client to? You want to give them to stylist B every time because they've got the higher retention rate for new clients. And once you then know that sort of information, you can start asking yourself, well, why does stylist A have low client retention? Is it because the clients don't like them? Is it because their rebookings are really low? Is it because the clients don't like what they did? Is it a training issue? Is it a standard of work issue? Is it a poor experience issue? Is it lack of a relationship? Is it lack of accountability and follow through from the salon leadership? So I often, when I talk about a successful salon business, I'll often talk about a jigsaw puzzle as being a really good analogy. And it's like every piece of that jigsaw puzzle contributes to a busy, successful salon and busy, successful stylist. There is no shortcut or easy answer to solve the problem. The reality is that running a business is hard. The reality is that growing a business is hard, and to succeed, you have to put the work in, and you have to keep putting the work in. It never stops. So if you're a salon owner and getting new clients is an issue that you struggle with, then I suggest that you check out my online Super Stylist course, which is all about getting the stylist to understand their role when it comes to becoming a productive and well-paid stylist, including what they need to be doing to get more clients and turn them into raving fans. And although my marketing course won't be launched until the second half of 2025, my book, Grow for Marketing, is full of very practical marketing ideas on how to attract new clients, turn them into regulars, and keep them as long as possible. Alternatively, if you want my one-to-one coaching program, then email me, anthony@growmysalonbusiness.com. So with that said, we do need to start wrapping up this week's episode. For further information, visit growmysalonbusiness.com to find out more about our free resources, as well as our Grow books, our online courses, and our coaching programs. So have a great week, and don't forget to tune in next Tuesday for another episode of the Grow My Salon Business podcast. So bye for now.